kind of an overview now that you studied them of what they look like?
Yeah, no, I found myself watching them in the Murray State championship game that they played. I mentioned this on a couple interviews. I've had a few today, but you try to watch it to scout it. It was such an entertaining game. I started becoming almost a fan watching it, going back and forth with it. But Coach Bird obviously is a legendary coach. He's coached so long. He's lasted. He's had great success. Very skilled team. Can stretch you out, shoot from all positions. Sound. They're a good team with experience, and their ability again kind of to play four guards. They can do that similar to teams we've played, the Davidsons, Notre Dame in some ways that have the ability obviously to flank you, but real good with their offense, and then just sound defensively from what I saw, and I'll watch some more. But a couple games that I've watched, that's what I've seen and have been impressed, and very good perimeter players. And then a crazy stat of one of their big guys, he shot in conference 76% from the floor. Evan, I believe it's pronounced Brads or number 35. I think it's Bradds, but he's shooting. I think he leads the country in field goal percentage. Just 6'7", crafty. So they have very nice pieces and obviously well coached.
His dad, by the way, was National Player of the Year at Ohio State.
Really?
On that great Ohio State team with Bobby Knight.
Wow.
I was talking to Coach Bird I was talking to Coach. I just thought he'd want to know.
Yeah. No. It's Brad's, right?
Yeah.
BR. Okay. Yeah.
I talked to Coach Bird this morning, and he said that over the last 4 years that nobody in the country has shot more three-pointers than Belmont, except for Duke. Have you seen anything elaborate there? Do they remind you of anybody you've played?
Well, they spread the floor so well, and they do. They shoot them. I mentioned Notre Dame, Davidson, some of those teams, but they use the ball screen well. They move without the ball, and their spacing is terrific. And again, their four-man is space. It's not like they have two guys kind of hunkering down around the blocks and working. They spread you out, and with teams like that, it's you have to do the best you can to contest their shots. I overheard Malcolm as I walked in here talking about that. You really have to do a good job contesting shots, but they're a good passing team. I didn't mention that, but they really like to get to the lane, move the ball. Boston College, there's some teams that really spread it out and have four-guard attack, but have a guy inside that's capable for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned after the Carolina game that I think Justin needed to wear that padding or splint thing for like 5 to 6 weeks. I guess I was wondering, does he get that off? And then also, second part of my question, just as a former player, how much do you think that impacts having that padding on your shooting hand and also just with ball handling, not just shooting?
We'll find out this week if they can, minimize it a little more. He's going to get, I don't know if they do x-rays to make sure everything's okay, and we'll get a feel for that. So I'm sure if they could do something, it'd be great. I don't know yet if they will, but they'll look at it without a doubt. And, as much as the protective, when you just play, we just tape your ring finger and you're not supposed to call it, Doc said, not your pinky finger. I call it my pinky finger. Dr. Chhabra, he scolded me. I'm trying to remember what he wanted me to call it. But anyways, we'll call it the pinky finger just for Dr. Chhabra. But, you do that and play that way, and it does. You can't spread your hand as much. So there certainly is an effect. But really, in Justin's case, more than that is the break that he's had away from playing that long without practice time, but a couple practices, and now, at least the 2 games with 12 minutes, 14 minutes. Now we'll have practice this week, so my hope is he'll be better. So I think it's not one or the other. It's a combination of both of those why you see him not quite as comfortable yet. But, yeah, you definitely a couple times you could see that. But I think that's part of it. And, he has okay-sized hands. He's not one of those guys that just can palm the ball at will. So I think, hopefully we'll get a little less protection on it, still protect it, and then more reps and all those things will make him as effective as he can be given the circumstances.
Yeah, with Justin, is there some challenge in reintegrating him, to the team after he hasn't played with them in like a month and just getting kind of that chemistry back with all of them?
Yeah, I think, of course, it's just trying to he wants to be at his best. We want him at his best, but trying to find ways that he can be effective out there. And I thought he was better. I think I said it in the game after, even defensively against North Carolina than he was the first night against Florida State. So that was a step in the right direction. Hopefully he had a little more stamina. And, again, he's been working hard, but the appendectomy caused him to all of a sudden lose a little bit of his conditioning because he couldn't do anything while he was out. But, yeah, trying to find the pockets where he can work. And this week of practice will be very important. And then, you play it by ear in the game. And so that's, like I said, Evan's been good. Mariel gave us a good lift in the Carolina game, and you just got to see where he's at. One of the Dr. Chauber right here. Maybe he's listening live and he chewed me out. I don't know. So it's
one of the storylines in the postseason last year was your dad. Was he going to go to the game? Where was he going to be? Was he going to be in town, et cetera? You haven't talked as much about, is he in seclusion this year? Or what has he said about the team? And has he given you any tips going into the tournament?
He hasn't watched much. He actually had a hard season health-wise, so but he's doing better now. But he wasn't. But he said something. I think this captures a lot of what I think is important for us. We were talking yesterday on the phone. I always talk to him, and he defined greatness or excellence to me as he said. I think especially for your team, and we were talking to our team about it. It's not doing spectacular things from time to time. He said it's doing good things all the time, and I think that for a team like us, that's essential. Like this, some teams have it that they can just they got these guys that they can play that way, spectacular plays here and there, and next thing you know there. But for us to be at our best, it is doing the good things, the sound things that we work on, being good at that all the time. And the great plays, you'll see them, the blocks by Justin, Malcolm making some of those plays down the lane, different things, they happen. And maybe because we've been a little inconsistent in some of our struggles or our losses, that's what every team at this stage is trying to get to, that level of consistency and being good all the time as opposed to finding ourselves clawing back or being in those spots. That's the challenge. That really is, but that was a great definition.
Tony, Malcolm also said that when a hot shooting team can really affect the pack line because you're so tough on the bigs. When you look at Belmont, is this a type of team that scares you because it sort of negates the pack line?
Yeah, no, they I don't know if it negates it. Any team that can stretch it. You look at Notre Dame. Whatever defenses they go against, they're such a prolific scoring, shooting team that they can score on anybody, whether you're pressuring. Because if you really get out there and 4 guys are blanketed out there, and all of a sudden they can get by you. They touch the paint, you got to suck in, then they kick it out. You're almost like an accordion. It's really, we talk about that defensively. So teams that can stretch it and shoot it, they're a challenge for any defense. But yeah, the challenge is can you be in position? Can you be there, make them shoot contested shots? And I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what's better against teams like that, to be all-out pressure or to be able to be in position and be a pack team like us that tries to get to shooters. I'm not sure. I really am not. But that's a challenge for any team with shooters like that if they get going. So you do the best you can and try to disrupt. But at this stage, that's a team that, teams that can shoot it, you got to be ready for long rebounds, different things. But that's the beauty of the tournament, the different styles that you see. It really is. But
There's no easy answer, but the 2 losses in the last 3 games, Malcolm said the team just wasn't playing as well, and they were obviously good opponents. But when you look at sort of the end here, did you see this team running out of gas down the stretch? What do you think the reasons are?
We didn't maybe play good all the time the way the definition of it goes, but we were up 1 and had a chance at Louisville. And we were down 1, had a chance against Carolina, and the team has shown, even with some inconsistencies, they found ways to be in it. It's a fine line. It really is. Losing Justin, that made us different, but we fought through that. And some guys were banged up, but it's close. I mean, Louisville's they're a big athletic team. That's a different team than certainly what we were just talking about. Carolina played well. I think it's just it's that tight, and especially when you get into tournament play, your possessions away from being successful or not. And if you get 1 or 2 of those like we have in the past, everybody's like, wow, did they play well, but we dropped a couple, so it causes you to look in and say, all right, where can we tighten up? And we always use that saying, don't accept in victory what you wouldn't in defeat. And it's true to an extent, but there's when you drop games or you lose them, it becomes more to the forefront. And we're trying going into this to be as level as we can and as good at what we do as possible. And I think both of those games showed us some things that will get our guys' attention to the best of our ability. And I don't know if our quality of play dipped at the end. Pretty good opponents, and it's that close. That's what I think, and we've got to continue to try to tighten up as you do all year.
Tony, you kind of briefly touched last night on the Taylor-Barnett connection.
Yep.
I was wondering if you wouldn't mind going over some of the reasons why and what for. Because it was obviously at the tail end of a stretch where guys were kind of leaving the program there.
Yeah.
A lot of that had already happened.
Yeah. No, I wish Taylor would have stayed. He's a wonderful young man. I think you'd have to ask him. I've lost so many guys I can't remember every reason why. Guys, probably me. So no. I know, believe closer to home, and I know he really enjoys that school. I talked to his sister, obviously. Sarah Beth is here on the women's team. Good family, quality guy. Actually, I thought could have helped us, but everyone has their reasons why they leave. I can't remember if there's anything startling. It was just, I remember I was surprised when he said he wanted to leave because I thought there was a chance for him, but he's certainly in a good role and getting an opportunity, and I know he's really enjoying it there. That's why when I checked with Sarah Beth, she said, yeah, no, he is. So I'm happy for him that way. But, that's what I can recall.
And then understanding that your whole focus is on Belmont, did you even for a second look at that little pot of the bracket and say, oh, look, there's Michigan State. Isn't that special?
Yeah, yeah, special, as the church lady would say. So, that's about all. When the pairings come out, you look at your game, and then you see the next game, and really that's about as far as you look and you see it. If you're fortunate enough to play well to get to it, you say, all right, who do we have to prepare for next? It'd obviously be a Georgia-Michigan State game. Haven't played Michigan area. I talked about that because we had watched that part of the selection show together. But saw that. Again, I know how well Belmont's playing. You look at their schedule. I know how well, obviously, Michigan State's playing. Even Georgia, I watched part of their game against Kentucky. So it's high-level teams. It's a pretty good region bracket, but I'm sure every team would say that. There's no easy way. You have to play different teams, different styles, and of course we remember how I thought that was a very physical, well-played game last year in the Garden, and hopefully we're there again as far as playing them, but we know what's at hand first. Oh yeah, and you can ask me about him when we get to that time. So that's sure. But yeah, I got to do my research. I didn't know I can't remember the reasons. Yeah.
Tony, you played professionally in Charlotte. What is special about going back there this week for you?
Yes. Yes. Charlotte, that's a wonderful city. It's changed so much since I've been there. I was there 92 to 95, trying to go back, getting old. And the memories of playing there, that was a unique time in NBA basketball, even in Charlotte history, because there was basketball and there was racing. That's what it was. And the Panthers weren't there yet. My last year they came, but it was the toast of the town because you think of the personnel we had: Alonzo, Larry, Muggsy, Del Curry, Johnny Newman, a Richmond guy. Alan Bristow was our coach, a Virginia Tech guy. But they're such a excitement and such talent, and then to see it get to the playoffs. That's when Shaq was at Orlando and Alonzo. It just was, and all of a sudden this team started coming, a young team coming together, and I've never seen a town in an NBA setting circle around a team like that. So exciting. So those are great memories. I've said it before. My wife's not from there, but we met there. That's obviously a pretty darn good memory. Just good people, great town, and kind of got my taste of the ACC. Being there at that time, Jaminski, Mike was on the team, and J.R. Reed, and just seeing those battles, those guys talking trash to each other about the Carolina-Duke rivalry, and Muggsy was on that team, Wake Forest. So it's just kind of certainly be special because there's still people that I'm close to that are there.
Yeah, given the fact you don't necessarily know exactly what Justin's going to be able to give you offensively, how important is it maybe that somebody like London or Mike Toby, maybe becomes a little more aggressive and kind of hunting their shot?
Yeah, I mean, I just think guys got to be true to who they are, but we've got to be as good and efficient as we can offensively. I don't think it's you push a button and say, all right, I want you to be. Absolutely, those are guys that can score and they're capable. I thought Marielle, as I mentioned before, did that when we needed a lift against Carolina. You just want guys to certainly run their offense to score and look for shots that are strengths to them, and I'm sure that'll be important, so we'll look for it.